If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience using it day to day, what it feels like to live with, and the little things you only notice after you have actually spent time on it. This scooter makes sense for someone who wants a mobility scooter that feels stable, has the kind of traction that can handle more than smooth indoor floors, and can go long enough that you are not planning your whole day around a charger. I have used lighter travel scooters before, and those can be fine for short trips on clean sidewalks. This one feels like it is meant for longer outings and rougher surfaces, even if that also means it is less convenient to lift and move around. What makes it different in my use is how planted it feels. The four-wheel drive part is not something I am thinking about every second, but I notice it when I roll over uneven ground or when the surface changes from pavement to grass. The scooter does not feel like it is hunting for grip as much as some two-wheel drive models I have tried. It is still a mobility scooter, so I am not taking it into deep gravel or anything, but for normal real-life stuff like a park path, a slightly bumpy neighborhood sidewalk, and a yard that is not perfectly smooth, it stays composed. In person, it looks straightforward. Mine is red with an 18-inch seat, and the seat size feels right for me for longer rides. The frame and the main body feel solid when I grab and shake them a bit. Nothing feels flimsy, and I do not hear a bunch of plastic creaking when I shift my weight. The steering column and the controls feel simple, in a good way. It is not overloaded with buttons, and I can use it without feeling like I need to stare down and relearn it every time. The seat is one of the things I appreciate the most. It swivels, which sounds like a small detail until you use it at a table or when you are trying to line up with a seat in a waiting room. I can rotate, get positioned, and then stand up more safely. The armrests moving up and down also matter more than I expected. When I am getting in and out, I like being able to lift the armrest out of the way instead of trying to squeeze past it. Once I am seated, I drop them back into a comfortable position. Over time, those little convenience things are what make me actually want to use the scooter instead of fighting with it. On ride comfort, I do notice the suspension. It has suspension up front and in the rear, and I can tell the difference when I hit sidewalk seams and small cracks. It does not magically turn a rough surface into a smooth one, but it takes the edge off. The scooter feels less jarring than the basic models that bounce and rattle over every uneven spot. When I am on it for more than a quick loop around the block, that reduction in vibration matters. Setup was manageable, but I will be honest about the main trade-off with this scooter. It is heavy. Once it is assembled, it feels like a serious piece of equipment, not a lightweight travel gadget. Moving it into place took effort. If you live in a place with stairs, or you rely on lifting a scooter into a trunk on your own, this is the part that might push you toward something else. For me, I needed a practical storage plan. A garage setup or a ramp situation makes life easier. After I got it where I wanted it, daily use has been simple, but the initial handling and any transport planning is not something I would gloss over. In normal use, I mostly judge a scooter by whether it makes my day easier or adds friction. This one leans toward making things easier once it is in its home spot. I roll it out, sit down, adjust the armrests, and go. The turning and general handling feel predictable. It is not a tiny scooter, so it does not pivot like a little indoor model, but it also does not feel awkward. In tighter spaces, I slow down and take wider turns. Outdoors, it feels stable and confidence-inspiring. Range is the other thing I paid attention to. I have done longer afternoons where I am out running errands, moving around a park, and generally staying away from home for hours. With this scooter, I have not had that constant low-level anxiety about whether I will make it back. In my experience, the range lines up with the idea that you can plan a real outing, not just a quick trip. I have seen it go close to 18 miles in realistic mixed use, but range always depends on things like rider weight, terrain, and how often you stop and start. What I can say is that I do not feel like I am charging it every time I use it. I can use it across multiple days depending on how far I go, and that makes it feel more practical. Speed is another area where I care about how it feels, not just the number. It tops out around 5 miles per hour, and that has been a comfortable pace for sidewalks and shared spaces. It does not feel like it is rushing me into trouble. It also does not feel painfully slow when I am trying to keep up with someone walking at a normal pace. I tend to run it a bit lower in crowded areas and bump it up when I am on a clear stretch of path. The throttle response feels smooth enough that I am not getting that jerky start that some scooters have. I tested it on a few surfaces that match real life. On pavement and sidewalks, it is steady and predictable. On grass, it is better than I expected, especially when the ground is firm. If the grass is wet or the soil is soft, I slow down and I do not try to force it, because you can still lose traction depending on conditions. On packed dirt paths and park trails that are not too loose, it stays controlled. The wheels are a practical size for this kind of scooter. They are not tiny, so they do not get hung up as easily on small bumps. But I still treat curbs and big obstacles with caution. I use curb cuts when I can, and I take transitions slowly. Now, I do want to address something people ask about a lot: smart features and a mobile app. On this scooter, my experience is that it is not really about an app-driven lifestyle. I have not needed a phone to make it usable, and I actually like that. For a mobility scooter, I care more about reliability and simple controls than pairing and notifications. In day-to-day life, I want to turn it on and go, and that is what I get here. If you are specifically shopping for something with deep app integration, this is probably not the category where that matters most, and it is not how I judge this model. There are also a couple of limitations worth saying out loud. The weight is the big one, and I will say it again because it affects ownership. It is not something I would recommend if you need to lift or fold a scooter frequently. Another thing is that because it is a larger, sturdier scooter, it takes up space. Storage needs to be part of your plan, and while the suspension helps, you still feel rough terrain. It is comfortable for what it is, but it is not a substitute for smooth surfaces. On the positive side, the build feels dependable. The seat and armrests make daily use easier, and the scooter gives me the confidence to go farther without constantly thinking about battery. The stability is the main reason I keep choosing it when I have a longer day planned. It feels like it wants to stay upright and track straight, and that matters for comfort and peace of mind. Overall, after using the BuzzAround X Extreme 4-wheel drive long-range travel scooter in regular situations, I think it fits someone who values stability, range, and a sturdy feel more than portability. If you have a place to store it and you are not trying to lift it into a vehicle all the time, it has been a practical scooter to live with. It has made it easier for me to get out, stay out longer, and deal with the kind of uneven surfaces that come up in everyday life. If you have questions about how it handles a specific situation, like a particular type of sidewalk, a specific incline, or storage in a smaller space, leave a comment, and I will do my best to answer based on what I have actually experienced. If this video helped, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with what you want me to test next. Thank you for watching.